Today gives me great pleasure to be in conversation with Zonta International President Ute Scholz. Ute is coming towards the end of her 2 years as our International President. So welcome to our conversation today, Ute.
Thank you very much, Lynn. It's a great honor for me having our chat today. Thank you so much.
It is for me as well to enter into some reflections and retrospective about the 2 years that will be very shortly coming to an end at our big convention in Brisbane. So can we start our conversation today about some highlights that you feel stand out to you as a result of the work you've done internationally, you and the board and Zonta has done in the international space? What do you feel are the couple of highlights for you there?
Yeah, so Lynn, you say it correctly. It's not only what I did, it's what we did with the board, with headquarters and with all our Zontians. And for me, really an outstanding highlight is to see the impact that we have and that we can have as Zonta International on ending child marriage to adolescent girls and women. So I remember when I went to see our international service projects in India, Mozambique or Nepal, and to meet with those who are suffering from child marriage, who are threatened, and to see the villages and the people in the villages working on this topic and having really the vision to end child marriage. In India, I went to villages, more than 10,000 villages declare themselves child marriage free. And I think this is really an impact, a change for the women, and that is what we can be proud of. And not only in these 12 countries where we have the project, but when I see all the 65 countries around the world where we address child marriage, where we make it to a topic, and especially our US caucus, it's brilliant what they are doing to address child marriage. So we really see it's getting into the attention of the public, and this is important.
Yes, it came home to me at the UN Commission on the Status of Women back in March during some of the sessions about the large number of NGOs that are all working for the same purpose alongside and with Zonta. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, we go together, we are bonding together with UNICEF, UNFPA, but also with like-minded women's organizations like Girls No Bride. And we all put our voice and our power together. And that is the right way, what we have to do, and the right way to accomplish something. And I want to give the thanks back to all who are working on this important issue.
Sometimes it's standing on the shoulders of others, isn't it? Standing on the shoulders of the people before us and the people we're working with, and together hopefully we'll make a bigger difference, multiply the difference.
Yeah, we are just one part in the chain.
That's right. So if we wanted to localize that a bit more and think about the highlights you feel are the most important for the Zonta community, the Zonta global community ourselves, what do you think the achievements have been throughout your biennium?
Well, for me, I think the most important achievement is that we have a strategic plan as a roadmap that navigates us in the future. Because when we want to be relevant as a human rights organization, we have to focus on some main topics. We are not relevant when in some parts we are planting trees, in others we are working in a library, or we're working with children in a kindergarten or anything. No one will identify this as Zonta International. Our name is not easy to remember, so we have to be remembered by our actions. And that is why we have to focus on some key points and some key subjects. And education is very important. No violence is very important. Both goes very close together. And I think that's what we have to make clear, that we are working on these two main topics. And the strategic plan is a kind of a roadmap. But it's also a culture change, that we have to learn how to work with it, that we have to get trust in it, that we have to be confident to our leaders. And that we have to give it from one biennium to the next and hand it over and learn to live with this. And but I think it will help us. to streamline our activities, and it will help us to be more visible, because this is an important point, what many Zontians said in our surveys. They want Zonta to be more visible, and the strategic plan is a good way to do so, to be more visible in the world with what we are doing.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's brand and reputation, and those who know Zonta and Zonta International and their local club are able to talk about the brand and the great work that we do reputationally over the last 100 years. But there are so many places where we're not known, and we find ourselves having to explain what it is we do, and then depends whether we have consistency in explaining that, isn't it? It's a very interesting place we find ourselves in the competitive environment of membership organisations.
Exactly, and I think it also helps us to focus on the main points. It's also in a kind of a relief for us that we can say, now we focus on these topics. There are so many other topics that are important for women. Nearly everything, you can break it down to women's issues. But it's also a relief to say we focus now with all our voices around the world on this and that and here.
And it's the power of the voice, isn't it? It's the powerful voice of you, me as an individual, and then the voice of Zonta. And I think we have to remember that as an organisation too, don't we, that we have that voice. And not only do you have the voice because you can represent Zonta at so many international forums, we all have a voice in our local community, and we have a voice with our friends and family as well, and how we use that really matters.
Yeah, each of us is an advocate for women's rights. We have to understand this and use this voice.
Absolutely. So what are you most proud of in the 2 years?
I'm proud of a good cooperation with the board, a very confidential, good cooperation. I'm proud of a good transition to the new board, hopefully to the new board, about a good cooperation with headquarters. I think we all together, the board, myself as president, headquarters, we are like a triangle, and we work very well together. We support each other. We listen to each other, and we bring all our different perspectives. And I think this is important. It's not a one man or one woman show. What we do, we have to work, and we also have to hand it over from the once before and continue to the next. We are just one part in the flow, and I think that is important, and it works well. So I'm proud of what we do. I'm proud of our clubs, the passion of the clubs. We never had so many new clubs in this biennium ever before. I'm very proud that our Zontians go out and spread the message, and they are really passionate to found new clubs. This is really wonderful. And when we do good work, other people, we are attractive for other people. So I think, yeah, the Zonta spirit is a good point. It also helps us that we treat each other in a good Zonta spirit. And also the Zonta Spirit team did a great job with that. We can only all work together in harmony and with a clear goal, what we want to do, and with passion and power behind. And that is what I see on several levels in our Zonta world. I think that is where we can be proud of.
And the strategic plan outlines that very simply and very clearly about, the presence, the alignment in partnerships, the focus on education and climate and leadership throughout that action, and at the base of it and all around it is women's rights or human rights, and focusing on that is the core, isn't it? It's at the heart.
Right. It is.
And in a
That,
world where
you
many
know,
of us feel that's regressing, many of us feel that around the world in society there's some regression in that space of women's rights and equality, and particularly in domestic violence and so on. It's so important, isn't it, to keep that front of mind.
it is, yes, and always to address it. I think we have to address these points. We have to be more visible, even more visible. We have to be louder. We shall not rest, as we say, we shall not rest till women's rights are accomplished, and we really take it and realize it and live it every day when we see it.
Absolutely. So on a more personal level, if I might stray into a couple of personal areas with you, Uta, and I know you well enough, I think, to do this, what do you think you've learned as a leader? And I'm going to follow that with a second question is, what have you learned about yourself as a result of this year, 2 years?
Okay. What did I learn as a leader? First, I learned a lot about Zonta, really, how Zonta acts in various aspects. I did not know all of that. These 2 years are really a good opportunity to really dive deep in. I learned to work together with the board, give them all the chance to speak. And I also learned that not only my thoughts are important, I learned to go back, take myself back, and give others the opportunity to speak what they think, so that we all can bring our things together, our visions, our thoughts, our experiences, and put it together to a good result to proceed. I think that is an important point. And as a leader, you have to take yourself back. Otherwise, you only hear your own opinion. That's not the optimum. Yeah, was a highlight. Was an interesting experience for myself, riding the organization with others through 2 years, and I must say, it was so far without stress, without any anger, without any real conflicts. So we really could sell everything in a very good way. And this is, I think, always with a smile, always with friendship. I think I'm very proud of this. I'm still smiling at the end of the 2 years. I'm still relaxed. Yeah, but that is also for oneself a learning curve, and also a question of your thinking and how are you centered or not.
What did you learn about yourself? About yourself and what you're capable of, or what did you find out anything about yourself that perhaps you didn't know before you took up this role? Now, that's a tough question, but I think you can find an answer to that.
Right, but I think when you start with a smile, a conversation or a discussion, and it's not only a smile on your face, it's also with a smile, an inner smile, then you are relaxed, and that gives you a lot of strength. And I think that is what I learned. Start with a smile, in an inner smile, and open eyes and open ears, and try to find out what the others want. So this is perhaps one of the mediator skills, what I learned, but it was a good experience in the 2 years of Zonta with various partners on different fields to practice this. And that is what I learned, and I'm happy about this.
That's fabulous. I'm going to ask you another question now that you've had the opportunity, perhaps before these 2 years, but particularly in your term as president, to travel to different places, places you may never have been to and may not get to go to again. Can you choose one of those places that really affected you in the heart? A place that you visited that you really had that emotional connection to, or something about it really affected you in your heart. What would that be? Where would that be, I should say?
Only one place.
Mm-hmm.
If I would choose one, it was my first site visit to Madagascar, because it was so new for me. And to see the villages, to see the families, to see the children that take part in the project, because it was so new, so overwhelming. And this part of the world in Madagascar is one of the poorest. And in this part of Madagascar where we have been is the poorest corner of the poorest country.
Mm.
There hasn't been rain since more than 10 years. Yeah. Afterwards, I got more used. I knew how the procedure is, but for the first time to see that was overwhelming.
If I said, is there another place? Would you have a second place?
A second place. This is not long ago. That was when I was just recently in Nepal. I also went there to a site visit, but also the Nepali Sontians invited me to see their projects in Kathmandu, and we also went to Pokhara. And that was also heartwarming to see the passion of the Sontians, to see what they do in their surrounding, in their villages, and to see how well they are respected in Nepal. People know about Zonta. They have good connections to donors who support them. So that was the other highlight, really a highlight, personal highlight, to see the passion and how well they work together, to see the friendship between them. That was Zonta spirit pure.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So we often talk, I think, in our circles, friendship circles, Zonta circles, and professional circles, about the pathway to gender equality, where we are globally and where we need to get to. And if you look at the World Economic Forum data, it's still scary, isn't it? You know, like 100 years till across the world we can reach it, across politics and education and health, etc., and government. So I'm wondering, do you have a thought to share with the people who will watch us after with this recording today about what do you think is next? And you can take that as broadly or as narrow as you like, you know, next for Zonta, next for governments, to really lift that to get us closer.
What is next? I think I said it already. We have to be much more visible. We have to raise our voice much more. We have to be louder. We have to be more present. I think that is important. It's really a bit a point when we go to the CSW at the United Nations and we all hear all the promises, what is going to be done in future and which master plans there are. I think we have to say, no, enough of talking. We have to do it now. We want to see reactions now. I always turn the questions around. How would it be with men's issues? Would that also take so much time to get rights for men's issues? And when we say no, and we answer this question with no, then we know the answer, what we have to do. And that is, we have to be more visible, and we do not say, no, it's okay. Let's see the master plan. Let's wait what is going to happen in future. No, we want to see it now. And this is what we have to do together with allies. I think that is very important, finding allies, other organizations, other like-minded partners. And for me, I think perhaps you all know it's also an important point to have men on our side as allies, because very many men, they also want a better life. and a better world for women and girls. Because we know that a world where women's rights are respected, there is democracy and peace. So many men are also our allies, and we have to get them, and also to raise their voice for women's rights. So this is overall, I think, that is my conclusion. Do more, be more open, go more, be more visible, speak more about women's rights, be bold, be bold.
And finally, as we wrap up our conversation today, because I'm here in Queensland and you're there in Germany, and very shortly you'll be here in our amazing city
Yes.
of Brisbane. And, come the 1st of July, when convention has finished, you will be free, I guess, from
Yes.
the role that you've been in for 2 years. So what's next for you?
For me, on 1st of July and later, I will be a happy past president.
Yep.
That's for me. That's what I'm looking forward for.
And whatever comes your way after that, you'll look at it and say, maybe, or I will.
Right. My motto is be flexible in your hips. I don't make plans, and I'm looking forward for this time as well. It's a wonderful time, but I think it's also the beauty in Zonta that we all know it's always for a limited time. No one will ask you, please continue. So do the best for the 2 years, from the 2 years that you have, and then enjoy life. And that's what I'm doing. I will do that as a happy past president, I hope.
Amazing, Uta, and thank you. Thank you so much for your conversation with me today on different sides of the world, in different time zones. And thank you on behalf of all of our members around the world for your 2 years as president and how you've worked so well with your board, with headquarters, and with all of us in various ways. Those of us who are part of your immediate team, those of us who are part of an extended team in club level, thank you for shepherding, championing, and being the custodian of the leadership of Zonta for your 2 years. We thank you.
Thank you, Lynne. Thank you. And thanks to all. We can only do it together. Thank you.